Quick reminder before we get started, if you haven't subscribed or followed this podcast on your favorite podcast platform yet, I would really appreciate it if you click the follow button now or the subscribe button, as it will really help us a lot. In this recovery snippet, I speak with certified intuitive eating counselor Ellie Gervais, and in this snippet of the podcast interview I did with her, I asked her, if you start intuitive eating, most people say they're going to just eat quote-unquote junk food all day. So let's see what she says about this. A common rebuttal for people who start intuitive eating, they often say, oh, if I eat whatever I want, I'm just going to have pizzas and ice creams and donuts all day. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, totally. I thought the exact same thing. And the interesting thing about that is part of intuitive eating, part of making peace with food, I'll say, is
Hmm.
allowing yourself to do that. Maybe to eat the pizza all day and to experience that. Um, because what I would encourage somebody to do who is in that mindset of, oh, if I let myself eat whatever I want, I'm just never going to stop eating. Well, how can we make peace with that food? The way that we can make peace with that is by um honestly, it's a form of like desensitization therapy where you expose your it's like an exposure therapy. Yeah, that's it. So where you expose yourself to this food over and over again and do so in a way that, is obviously with the goal of making peace with that food. And it's amazing when we give ourselves the full permission, and that's key. When you give yourself full permission to eat it, not I'm going to eat this and then go to the gym for 2 hours after, or
Mm-hmm.
I can eat this so long as tomorrow I restrict. It's like this. No, there are no conditions around the permission there. And if we allow ourselves to experiment with that and really approach it with curiosity and eat that food with full permission, and maybe the first time it is going to feel crazy, and maybe the first time it feels out of control, and that's okay.
Mm.
Like, think about writing with your non-dominant hand. Maybe it's going to be a mess. You're going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel super frustrating. The same thing goes if you're going from dieting, maybe you have 10 years, 15, 20 years of dieting under your belt, and you're now trying to eat intuitively. It's similar in the sense of it feels very uncomfortable. It's very unnatural. It's very unknown to you. So approaching this with compassion and curiosity. And the first time you do that, like I said, you might feel out of control. Try it again. Let's see what it feels like. And what I would recommend is just sticking to this. Let's just make peace with one food at first, right? Let's just say, I'm going to try to make peace with Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. Okay. I'm going to eat
Mhm.
that. I'm going to continue to eat it. I'm going to ask myself, how is it? How is this experience, right? Like, what am I feeling? What am I tasting? Am I enjoying this? And then if I am craving, and then maybe you put it away. If you are craving something else, and if you're that feeling of, oh, is this going to spiral into binge? Like, what is going to happen? Can we just go back to that one ice cream flavor? Because what we want to do is we want to decrease the novelty and the variety of what you're eating when you're making a peace with food, and just go back to this one thing. This is going to habitually make you like desensitized to this food. And over time, you don't have to do this with every single food either. You'll start to register in your head that you can have this food and it's in abundance and it's okay and it's safe to eat. And over time, when you continually expose yourself to that same food, you will find so much less desire to eat that food. And so, yes, when people ask me, I would never stop eating this food. Yeah, maybe in the beginning, but very quickly, your brain, which loves, variety and its dopamine hit of getting something new, is going to start to get really bored of that one food.
Mm.
And that one food is going to be a great teacher and lesson for you, um, which will be applied to a lot of other foods. And maybe some of my clients like to, we will make peace with ice cream, and then we'll make peace with chips, and then we'll make peace with, I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head, French fries, like whatever it is. And slowly over time, they're like, okay, it's really overlapping and it's sort of seeping into how I view all foods. So don't feel scared if you're like, I have a list of 80 um fear foods or foods that I feel out of control with or foods that I binge on.
Mm.
You don't have to go through all 80. You probably will not have to go through all of them. Just like yeah, that is what I would say. It's a really helpful way to try to make peace with food.